I was reading a comment that someone had said like, "Oh, what was it like working with Chris Lofton, and what did you learn from him on set?"
Chris is great to work with, man. I got a lot of respect for that brother. He is seasoned, man. He's been in this thing since he was literally a kid, so he's got a lot of experience. He just goes hard in the paint, man. He brings it every rip, and then as soon as they yell cut, he's laughing and joking. But yo, he knows everybody's name on set. He's very personable. Everybody digs him. You know, he's easy to hug, and it just he's one of the only few cast members that I actually like hung out with. You know, off the set. You know, where we just like hung out downtown, came over to the crib, and we just chilling. You know, so he's a really good brother, man. I got a lot of respect for him, and I wish him. It's fucked Gennard, but nothing but love.
Yeah, man.
He didn't put one in my noodle. He put one right
Right,
here.
right,
So
right.
He did two in the
Yeah.
chest, yeah, two in the chest, and then in the head, yeah,
right,
yeah, but
wow.
yeah,
He hit
yeah,
him with the Raquel Thomas, man. That was crazy.
yeah, but I always hear,
Yeah.
but I always hear nothing but good things about Chris Lofton. Like I'm pretty sure he's a great guy to
He's
work
just like
with.
you imagine. He's just like you imagine he is. Whatever, however y'all, I'm sure however y'all girls imagine he is. That's how he is.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah,
He's
that
just
makes
like that
sense.
dude that you hang out with. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for you at
I just
us.
wanted
Oh,
to,
go ahead.
my question. I just wanted to ask because like seeing how like you go back and forth between like the crime dramas and theater, which we've done for most of your career, like it's very impressive. So I wanted to know, when you making those switches between the plays and the shows, how is it like adapting back to the environment of what you're playing, and like do you ever need to take time to mentally reset between each take and each show or play that you're filming?
Yeah, the preparation is really important. Actually, the whole time I was filming my episodes on season 3, I was actually doing the play at the same time.
That's
I
tough.
was I went through the rehearsal process and the performance process of a play downtown at the Goodman Theater. We were doing a August Wilson play called Joe Turner's Coming On,
Mm-hmm.
and in that I played a blues musician from like the early part of the 1900s, like 1915, I think it was. Um, so yeah, man, it's a different muscle between theater and TV. But that's the discipline. Being having done most of my career in theater, you build certain muscles, and then being able to take that and take it to the smaller screen, and being able to learn different techniques and different ways to story tell. It's fun, man. As an actor, I don't think you can ask for a better situation where I went from being on stage doing a show live um, downtown and then driving 10 miles to the studio and filming like Power Before Force. That was amazing, man.
Mm.
For sure, for sure.
And I know you said you spent a lot of time, most of your acting career on theater as opposed to TV, but like I know you've also done, a few shows, some other stuff here and there. Which one would you say that has helped you the most, as an actor, theater or being on TV?
I think theater. I think all actors should venture into theater at some point in their career. There's something to be said where you have to do it live in front of an audience and no one's going to yell cut, and like, all right, let's go back to the beginning and try that again.
Right.
There's a certain discipline to that,
Mm-hmm.
to that type of storytelling, to that type of work. But TV, I mean, doesn't mean I don't think TV's easier necessarily. It's just different. You need different muscles. You need different disciplines in TV. In TV, there's a lot of waiting around. So as an actor, it's just like an athlete. If you wait around a lot, you go back in the game, you're gonna be cold. That jumper's gonna be off until you get
Right.
warm. So you have to find ways to stay warm and stay ready so that when they do call you,
Mm-hmm.
you got to jump right in it and
Right.
hit it, so they can catch it on camera. The process between theater and TV is different. In theater, you go through a rehearsal process where you make discoveries about your character and about the show. Then it's your job as an actor to recreate that 6, 7, 8 times a week live in front of an audience, and to make it seem like it's the first time that you're doing it. whereas for TV, man, a lot of that process happens without that 2 months of rehearsal, and you have to be able to hit it, and the director has to be able to capture it and to shoot it.
Where not for you.
Is there any particular like genre for like film or TV or play that you haven't been a part of yet that you'd like to do or
I like to
explored
do,
into?
yeah, I mean, anything with action, man. Like the action movie would be dope to get into, play like a villain, something like that. You know, that would be fun. Do some stunts.
I could definitely see you in comedy. That would be banging.
Yeah, me too.
And not gonna lie,
Yeah.
you had the perfect voice to play a villain too.
Nah, I can see it. I can
thanks,
see that. I can
Yeah,
definitely
like,
see
I
that.
can just see it. Yeah.
I also got I also got a question real quick. Oh, my fault.
What up?
Now go ahead.
Oh, okay. So speaking of having the perfect voice to play a villain, so I seen that on one of your acting credit roles that you actually done did some work in like voiceovers, notably doing one for like ESPN. Like you would like do voiceovers for like montages for like highlights stuff like that. Is that any different on preparing for like doing a voiceover, just reading like a script or something like that, or is it just about the same preparing for like a theater role or a TV show role?
It's the same, man. It's getting the words. As an actor, as a voiceover artist, I need the words. So once I get the words, I can read them over and over again, get an idea and a feel for what's trying to be said, what the story is, what the arc of it is. I do voiceovers for this television show that comes on WTTW here. It's called Chicago Stories. And it's an hour-long documentary series about events, people, and places all connected to Chicago. So, there's...
Dope.
Yeah, so it's actually the only weekly hour-long documentary about Chicago.
Mm.
And it comes on Channel 11 here and also on PBS online. But yeah, man, just getting that little clip for the ESPN thing, that you got 60 seconds to create the vibe, to get the feel, so you get the words, you read the words, and then you get the video and you see what the video montages are doing. Then you just try to match, you try to blend it seamlessly together.
Okay, word. That's dope. That's dope. That's
I got TV cable, so I'm definitely gonna tap into 11 at the crib, the CW for sure.
Check that out, man. It's called Chicago Stories, and it's really, even being from here, I learned so much, even as a narrator, man, because we made like almost 40 episodes. It's won a bunch of daytime, Midwest, and Emmys. It's a really celebrated show, and you just learn so much about Chicago, about the mayors of Chicago, events, natural disasters, what happened when Martin Luther King Jr. lived here. I mean, there's just a bunch. It's a really dope show.
I do got a question before we advance. Willis Tower, Sears Tower.
What is what?
Willis Tower or Sears Tower? I call it Sears.
Oh, come on, man. Sears Tower. Sears Tower. Yeah. I don't know anybody that call it Willis Tower. That's how you know somebody not from here. When they call it that, you're like, all right, you from somewhere else.
Okay.
I had a question real quick.
Any questions before I say anything?
Oh yeah, hold on. I had a question. So I know you said before you got cast that you didn't watch Power. You weren't too familiar with it. Once you got cast and you was gonna be on Power and stuff like that, did you take some time to watch the original series, or did you not want to find out anything about Tommy's character since JP really want to know anything about Tommy?
Please. No. I marathoned 65 episodes in like 2 weeks. I watched all the Powers, man, and I didn't have to wait for them to come out week to week. I had them all because they've been out.
Right. Yeah, you got to binge it all.
Straight binge. My wife and I, man, we just one after another until we fell asleep. And then like putting it back on. I wanted to know everything. I had to see everything to get a feel for the universe.
That's dedication,
right?
Right.
Yeah, when I started
it was dope, man. It was dope. Y'all saw the show, so I was late to the game. But when I saw it, it was like, yo, this show is dope, and I couldn't wait to watch the next one.
Man. I remember when I started watching Power late too. So it's like, man, I was like, that first episode, I was just like, oh man, I already know how this show's gonna be, man. Like, I already know like the writer's gonna take me on. So it's just like, yeah. And it probably took me 2 weeks to watch the show too, because that's how good the show was. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
favorite character on Power?
Yeah, like the OG one.
Oh man, Tommy.
That's bro.
Tommy, I mean, yeah. But like besides
Yeah.
Tommy, I like Ghost. I thought Ghost was tight from the jump. You know, Ghost commanded a certain amount of respect, and I really liked what Omari did with that character. Um, some of the other characters, I like the dude who played Tommy's father.
Teresi.
Teresi.
Yeah. Great actor. Great actor.
Yeah, great actor. You know, Bill Saylor's his name. Kate, I love Kate on the original Power. Every time she popped up, I dug her energy and how the interactions with her and Tommy would go. So like the first day I met her, it was really dope to me. I was like, man, being OG Power, that was dope.
Mhm.
I thought Angela was. I liked watching her.
Angela,
Ghost
really?
and Angela, that dynamic was tripped out. So many, man. I mean, the show was just it was amazing.
For sure.
That original Power is special.
Yeah, it is.
Speaking of that, oh, go ahead.
Nah, go ahead, Dresky.
All right. Okay. So this is coming from the chat. Someone wanted to know, do you agree with the direction that they took JP's character and with accepting his son's choice, to be in the game?
I do, because I think on a longer timeline, I've said this a few times in interviews. I think we would have seen something different, but the show is ending. We knew it going into season 3. And I think JP made a hard or definite choice not to be a part of the street life. When he threw the keys to the bar back to Tommy, they were standing over Kate's bedside when she was in the ER. And JP was like, I'm done. I don't want to be part of that life. Because you can't be half in and half out. And I think JP, for a little while, was trying to be like, we didn't talk about it in the show, but like part of JP's backstory, he was a little half in and half out of that world. But you can't live in that. You can't do that. JP was like, yo, I'm out. But D-Mac was so hell bent on being a gangster. I mean, that shit was real for him. He wasn't just fronting. He really wanted that. When JP and D-Mac weren't together, D-Mac was being raised and learning lessons in the street. So I think JP's plan was just to show D-Mac, that I'm here for you. I love you. I don't agree with you, with your choices, but there's a point in every parent's life when your child reaches a certain age or a certain stage where you have to just let go, for better or for worse. For better or for worse, and it's not an easy decision to make. And people stand on the sideline can give their opinion on what they think about it. But at the end of the day, you as a parent have to say, I don't agree with how you're moving, but I have to release you because you're not dragging me down into that world. I'm always going to love you. I'm always going to be here for you. I hope one day you see things differently because you have so much potential in this other arena. To use your mind, to go to school. You got your girl Genesis telling you, hey, you're smart. Come on to school. I've been telling them, you're smart. Go to school. Tommy was telling them initially, you're smart. Go to school. You don't need this life. So I think on a longer timeline, I think D-Mac would have heard some of that. But yeah, I agree with the way JP did it.
Right, yeah. That's one of the things I respected about JP as a character, especially with the way he started too. Like he just wanted to be there for his son after all that time. Cause, I think JP had mentioned that he had went through something similar with his dad and they ain't speak for so long, and JP ain't want the same thing. So that's one of the many things I definitely respected. So I ain't gonna lie, JP is definitely gonna be one of the few that goes to Power Heaven. I got no
Right.
I ain't gonna do it.
Not a lot of people in Power Heaven, man. So
Right.
not a lot, man. It's probably you and
I appreciate that. Yeah,
This is
because JP always moved kind of different to me, and I was really honored to bring a character like JP to the Power universe because I think he is a very unique type of character, and I think it showed a unique side of Tommy, which is why people watch this show. Is for Tommy's journey. And I think on Tommy's journey, one of the reasons why he stuck around Chicago is because he found out he had family here. You know,
Right.
he found out he had a grandmother here, and then once he found out he had a grandmother here, he found out that I got a brother here that I had forgotten about. I didn't know. So I think family has always been a big part of the Tommy character. Some of my favorite shit from the original show was just Tommy at Ghost Crib, like eating breakfast in the morning with Tasha and the kids, you know, and just being Uncle Tommy. I think
Right.
Tommy always wanted that family. He always wanted that family dynamic, and I think JP was able to kind of provide that as like a blood brother for him, because you saw a different side of Tommy, you know, when he was with JP. I think one thing JP did was I think he made Tommy laugh. He made Tommy kind of smile and drop that guard that Tommy has to have doing what he does. Tommy was able to drop that guard a little bit in the interactions with JP. So I was mad pleased to bring, you know, Power and Force always felt like hip hop, and JP seemed like jazz to me. So I was great to bring a different vibe to the show.
Yeah, that's exactly what Tommy said when he was talking to Grayskull. He was like, "My brother was a musician. What reason would he have to kill anyone?" So yeah.
Yep, facts.
Exactly. You know, he stood on business. Like when the kids was messing with his bar in season one, he didn't run out there with a gun. JP ran out there with a bat, ready to bash heads. You know,
Right.
JP is old school like that, and I'm glad that you know, like when he went to confront Jannard, he showed up to scrap. You know, he didn't show up with a gun because that's not who JP is, and I'm glad that JP stayed true to who he is. He kept it old school. He kept it the way that he knew to stand up and protect his son. And that was to throw hands, and that's what he did.
Definitely.
Definitely. Major respect to JP.
Oh man.
Nah, when you go ahead, J Mac.
Oh no, hold on. One thing I want to ask you is, how did you feel about Tariq showing up in the final episode?
To save his Uncle Tommy.
You know, I feel, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
I think it's good for the show. I understand from a business side why he showed up. I think the fans love it. What I didn't like, and I'm gonna say, what I didn't like about the whole situation was it felt to me like Tariq shows up, and now like he and Tommy going to ride off in the sunset, and then Chicago gets stuck with Dumb and Dumber. With like Vic and Jannard.
Yeah.
With like Vic and Jannard. And I'm like, what? Tommy just gonna bounce with little homie. He gonna bounce, and then Chicago's left with Vic and Jannard.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. It's what you say?
No, it's the fact that I'll be calling them Dumb and Dumber too, so it's funny how you just say it.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, that's what happens to Chicago. That's what we get left with. But, you know,
right.
I know it's for the next show. They got the legacy thing brewing, and I get it. It's good for the show. But yeah, you know, Tariq, fans love Tariq, man. So him showing up, that's a phone call Tommy made. So yeah, I get it.
I gotta say this though. I love seeing like people from my city, you know, on screen. You feel me? It's always a good thing seeing somebody from Chicago represented, because you know I feel like we don't really get too much representation. Like yeah, we got the artists, you know, we got like Lil Durk, we got Chief Keef, you know, people that's like from my neighborhoods, you know. But we got people like you, Chris D. Lofton, you know, showing a different side, showing like a classier side of the city, you know. That you know, your only way ain't gotta be like to sell drugs or make drill music. Like you know, it's a different way to make it out. So it's like I always respect that, seeing somebody else, you know, from the city making it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You know, we take what we do seriously here. Even though we act in, and even though it's TV and all that, we bring that Midwest kind of vibe to it. You know, like my man Stacey King says during the Bulls games, that hard hat and lunch pail. You know, we bring that mentality like, yo, let's just go to work and let's, you know, do the best job, put out the best product that we can. It was an interview that Michael Rainey just did on his podcast with
Gianni.
homeboy. Yeah, and he was talking about with Gianni, He was talking about how when he came out here, how serious he felt we were on
Yeah,
set
he
compared
did say
to
that.
the Ghost set. And it's like, yeah,
Right.
man, we serious because we just move differently here, man. You know, and we serious about what we do. And you know, it's definitely great to do that, and it's great to do that here where we can make this kind of TV, have these kind of fans, and do it all right here in Chicago. You ain't got to go out to the coast to get this type shit. You know, this type of shit exists right here. You
Mm.
know, I would get up.
Yep.
I live 10 miles from. I'm on the northwest side of Chicago. You know, I get on my car, get on my bike, and in 10 miles, I'm on set making one of the best TV shows ever. You know, in one of the best cities ever. So,
Best city.
you know,
The best city.
exactly the best
Bro.
city.
Yeah.
So that experience is just nothing better, dog.
Do you like the way the police and their storylines was represented in Force and Chicago as a whole?
The police,
Yeah, like Stacy,
like what in
Biggie,
particular?
Fang, like just their
Yeah, you know,
POV, how they ran their
yeah,
politics, how they was trying to get
yeah,
Tommy taken
crooked,
down. Yeah,
crooked. Like Chicago politics has always been. You know,
Windy City.
Mm.
That's why we got that name.
that's the win. You know, the win coming out these politicians for sure. So yeah, I mean, Chicago and crooked politics is interchangeable. It's always going to be like that here. It's always been like that. So yeah, to have that element, I think it was well represented. And Miriam, who plays Stacey Marks, I think she did a great job with her character. Um, some of her scenes were some of my favorites. And then the way she went out was tough too. She called one right in the gut from Tommy. That was wild.
Then got another
Uh,
one too, even though she was already done for.
Right.
yeah, that's right. Um, so yeah, I think it was dope. I think it was cool.
So when you first read that script and find out that JP was getting killed off, what was your like initial reaction? How did you feel about that? Like, did you feel as though JP had more
Man,
story left to tell, or were you just you were kind of satisfied with what they had done with the character?
I think JP had more story to tell. But I think it was a great. The scene was like I read it like 3 times in a row. Once I got to that scene, I was like, wow. Lofton, Jannar takes out JP, and then King Kilo, and then JoJo over
Mm.
here. I was like, man, and I just knew the impact that scene was going to have.
Right.
And from the time we shot that, from the time I read that scene to the time everybody saw it was over a year and a half. Um,
Yep.
so it was just sitting with that for a year and a half, knowing like I knew people were going to flip out. I knew the impact it was going to have. So I was happy about that because if you're going to go out, and we knew it was the final season, so everybody going out
Right.
really. But to go out the way JP did, and for what it set off, I thought it was really, really, really dope. And I
Mm.
knew it would be a fun scene to film because I'd never filmed a death scene like that before. So I was just really interested and intrigued by how that process was going to look. But yeah, I feel JP had more story to tell, and um, I wish he would have gotten a chance. But I was really happy with what I was able to offer the Power world for sure.
I do got a question. All right, so we all know season 2 finale. That's a big episode. Like, how was it filming that episode?
Season 2 finale.
Yeah.
Man, that was dope. That was shot by Deion Taylor, who is a fantastic director. He's filmed movies like Patel and a bunch of other movies. He filmed that scary movie that Core did with T.I., Fear.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he made that?
Yeah.
I seen that. I seen that one. Yeah. Ain't Justice the
Yeah, man.
also in that movie, right?
Yeah, so Core's in there for sure.
Yeah.
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 So it was great, man. Shooting that finale was great. Man, every episode, we worked with some of the dopest directors, some of the dopest writers. So it was just everybody really brought their game, man, their A game, and pushed each other. Every scene it just felt like we tried to squeeze every last drop of goodness out of that. And that last episode, man, it was a lot of action, a lot going on, but everybody knew the script, everybody knew the dance, and our crew, especially the crew, they don't get enough credit, I feel, because the actors are really like the least important element in this whole thing, man, because our crew is the one that work, 14, 22-hour hard days, man, back to back, and,
Mhm.
just work themselves into the ground to get what we captured. So I just want to give a big shout out to our crew on those episodes, because they really brought it and they really, really made us look good.
Word. So I actually had a question to like kind of like piggyback from what Jay asked. So somebody in the chat wanted to know like, did you want JB to be like more involved in the game because he had a small role in season 1, but were you hoping it developed into like a bigger role, maybe him being more involved in the game?
I could see that, but I don't think in the way most people would think. Like I think JP decided, and I agree with that decision, not to be in the game in that way, because he couldn't do it half-assed. And
Yeah,
I don't think he didn't want to be in it in the level that Tommy was in,
Mhm.
and it was like it's all or nothing. So the decision had to be nothing. Um, so yeah, I don't think I didn't want JP to be in the game. JP's focus, especially in season 3, was Darnell, was
Mhm.
D-Mac. Um, he made a decision, to get him back in his life and to guide and to be a father to him. D-Mac needs a father, and JP wanted to be that father, but there was a lot of things to get out of the way. There's been a lot of built up resentment and anger and regret and frustration and loss. So there was a lot as a parent to get through that we didn't just have the time to do. So no, I don't think
yeah.
JP wanted to be in the game.
Yeah, I wish we would have got a season 4 though, cause like you could tell by like
Oh,
watching like halfway through the season that like it was supposed to be more set up. But I think Gary said like Gary or Joseph, one of them said that they got let know like midway through shooting that it was gonna be like the last season, so they kind of had to wrap up everything. But I still think it worked out. But I personally wish it would have been another season.
Yeah.
yeah, I think one more season. Like going into it, we thought like 4 or 5 seasons.
Mhm.
Uh, and the show survived a lot, y'all. I mean, we filmed through COVID, which was a struggle, because there was a lot of protocols we had to follow. There was cats, if you got sick with COVID, guys were missing days and whatever. So we filmed through COVID. We filmed through the actors' strike, which was one of the things that really took us out. Was that SAG strike?
Mhm.
When we came back from that,
Mm, yeah,
there was a lot of cuts that happened on the set. A lot of contracts that got cut. A lot of things changed after that strike. So the show survived two big things. There, two big events.
yeah.
But the
Also,
fourth season would have been dope.
yeah.
Let's see.
Real goddamn known real quick. Somebody in the chat wanted to know, well, what are your predictions for D-Mac if he ends up getting like, going over to Legacy with Tariq and Tommy? What are your personal predictions?
Hmm. Wow, that's a good question. I don't know. He could go one or two ways. He could love. He could be like a reverse of Tommy, where now he's going to New York and having to learn a whole new thing in New York. Or I don't know. I think Genesis has his ear more than people think.
Really?
I think
Mhm.
I think so, man. And I think he's going to start to listen to the woman, uh,
I can
as
see that.
as we do. I think we get around. He's going to get around her a little bit more, and I think she's going to be pulling at his ear a little bit and get more and more of his attention. So I can see something. Maybe that's just the father in me and the JP in me, wanting him to get away from that life and gravitate toward,
Yeah.
doing something else, doing
Mhm.
something else with his life.
See,
Yeah, it's
for
interesting
sure
to
not
see.
letting Jannar
Go
go.
ahead.
He not letting Jannar go until Jannar 6 feet
Right,
under.
Jannar gotta
Then
go.
he probably
Right,
Yeah.
listen. Then he probably listen to Genesis right after he kill him.
right.
It's
Me and
like,
John got to go.
but it's like, are they really gonna make Jannard go back to New York just to chase Tommy? Like, you feel?
If they
Like,
do, I hope they take him out episode episode 1.
That's what people
Nah,
were saying about
facts.
Vic's character. They want Vic to go in episode 1 of
I
Legacy.
agree.
Hey,
I
J
agree
Mac,
with
you know
that.
what I think they finna do? I think
What's
Janard
up?
might end up hurting his business in Chicago. I think that's the plan for Janard. Like initially, he's in, by trying to hurt Tommy's business in Chicago. You know, he has beef with, he got some sort of resentment towards Shanti because you know how that ended between them. And then,
Mm-hmm.
I think Vic he might use his own connections to, do what he do out there too. But
Right.
we'll
I don't know, man. I think Chicago would come for Jannard. I don't think Jannard could last much longer in Chicago.
Well, yeah,
Honestly.
yeah. I mean, everybody did flip on him. So
Right. Yeah, he got no one left.
That would make a lot
Yeah.
of sense. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
They
Yeah, I
coming
can
for
see
him.
that.
Chicago ain't gonna let him live. Chicago ain't gonna let them.
Oh, so you don't even think Jannard gonna make it to New York? You think he done?
If he stay in Chicago, I think he done.
Yeah.
Best thing for Jannard to do is leave because he made too many enemies here. They're coming
True.
for his neck meat.
Yeah.
Trust me.
We could see like a reverse, like
Okay.
you know how Tommy came into Chicago trying to take over the game. We could see like a potential reverse, like Jannard trying to do the same thing, but we all know that's not gonna happen.
Right.
Come on, this is Jannard we're talking about. This is Jannard we're talking about.
Jannard.
Come on now.
Yeah.
It's Jannard. He like that narcotic. He's sloppy. I don't know.
Yeah, to me, bro, I don't understand how Jannard ran CBF for 15 years. I just don't understand how he did. Like, he moves too sloppy. Like, he makes, like, bonehead decisions. I don't get how he ran CBF for 15 years. I don't know. I don't see it.
Facts.
Yeah.
I got a question. If I just thought about it, if JP could have been introduced like in OG Power, what season would you have? Would you have him introduced?
Oh, in OG Power?
Yeah, if there was also in the universe and he was introduced as Tommy's half brother, like way earlier in the game.
That's a fire
Wow.
question.
That is a fire question.
I know this season. He should have.
What season did Tommy meet Teresi?
That was.
I think it was 4.
That was 4.
I
Yeah,
think it was
4. Yeah, 4.
I think.
It was
It was-
4. Yeah, it was 4.
Or it was
I
in
think
season 5.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, nah, it was season 4 when Ghost went to prison.
Hear me out real quick. Y'all know Tommy, he actually came to Chicago in season 4
Yeah.
after Ghost had got out of prison.
That's when Jason called him to come down, right? Yep, Jason. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, to meet with
On a
yeah,
business
to meet with
trip.
Jason. It was to meet with Jason, right?
Yeah. Jason told him to come down to Chicago. Yeah.
Oh.
He almost died down there, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he almost died.
I don't remember if he almost died.
Yeah, nah, they had him. Yep, he almost died down there. They had him like on his knees, pause. But yeah, they had him. Yeah.
Let me add him back because he just left. Let me add him back. There you go.
There we go. My bad. I dropped out.
Nah. Oh no, you
No,
good.
you good. No, you good, man. You good.
You good. All right.
How
I'm gonna read
how
it.
you think if he came and see my bad, but if you think he came in
No,
season
you
4
good.
around Teresi, like how you think that story would have played out like really quickly? Like would he have like been there for Tommy to like show him about family? Would it prevented Teresi being killed? I don't know, something along those lines.
Yeah, man, I have to think about that, but I like that for sure. But I like it kind of coinciding with the introduction of Teresi, somewhere in there.
Yeah, like season 4. Yeah, you remember Tommy had came out here to do business with Jason Mitchell. And,
Yeah, I forgot that though.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
Yeah, so I think like somewhere in there they could have, they could introduce JP enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. But to also piggyback off that, because I was about to ask a similar question, because somebody in the chat wanted to know, because there's a lot of people in this Discord that want Ghost to come back for a reason, but we're not going to talk about that. But this person wanted to know that, let's say Ghost was alive and JP ended up meeting Ghost, like, what do you think their interactions would have been like if they would have got a chance to meet each other?
I think they would have got along, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think they would have got along. I think
He would have protected you for sure.
Right. Yeah. No doubt.
For sure.
No doubt.
Because JP comes off as cool and collected, and I don't think Ghost would he would fuck with a person like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah.
I I
because
agree.
like the original JP storyline, JP was the owner of a club, and he was a jazz
Oh
musician.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Traveled,
Yeah, and
that's
they
a nice
traveled
parallel.
around. Yeah,
Also,
he
JP
owned
would have
like
reminded
different
Ghost of his dad,
studios.
probably. Yeah.
yep, yep,
Yeah, I was just
yep,
about to say that. Yeah, considering Ghost Dad was in the music, yeah,
Yeah.
they would have definitely got along.
Yeah.
Definitely.
yeah. They would have vibed on that for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Bro,
nah,
too
I
to
bad
also
Ghost
think
and
Ghost
Power
is
hell, bro.
yeah.
Y'all can't reunite in heaven, bro.
Yeah.
I also think Ghost
Oh,
probably
I ain't gonna lie.
I think
I don't think Ghost in heaven. I'm sorry.
I'm saying he in Power hell, so
he
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 getting out of
he
there.
he killed too many people to go to
I'm
heaven. I'm
sorry,
not gonna
Gucci
lie.
man. I'm
Too
sorry.
many. Too many.
But
Yeah, he
I
did
think
too
Joe was
much
finna
for
say
him
something
to go to
before.
heaven. I'm sorry. I understand, like, he wanted to make a change, but it's just like, hey, to make that change, you did a lot of bad shit. You feel
Right.
me? Like, I can't. Yeah, he gotta. Yeah, he's. I'm there. He's not
Somebody said
there.
he was in Cuba.
I'm there.
Now I got a question though. So like to piggyback off that, other than Ghost and Tommy, because those are two easy answers. If JP could have met any power character in the universe, alive or dead, which one would you have chosen?
To meet, oh man, in any Power universe,
Yeah, like in any alive, dead, any power show.
oh
Ooh.
man, Rock.
Rock. Oh, okay, okay. That's a good answer. That's a good
I knew
answer.
he was gonna pick somebody from Raising Kingdom.
That's a
I like
good
that
answer.
method. I like
I
that
like
method.
that
Yeah.
answer. He knows
Oh,
ball.
for
I like
Right,
sure.
that
right.
answer.
You know, ball. That was a good answer.
Good answer.
But Tina Miller did do theater as well,
Yeah.
so
She did.
I feel like most actors that I see that do theater, that start with theater, goaded. Goaded. They be
Oh
doing their
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I seen like visit her doing theater. Ain't gonna lie, she's really good. Like she really
Oh
is.
yeah, yeah. She's
Yeah,
on
then
Broadway. She's been on
I can
Broadway.
tell. hmm
I gotta give it to
And then
him.
I
She's a
can
beautiful
tell.
singer.
Yeah, and I can tell all of that transfers to her acting and Raise the Kingdom too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, I thought you was gonna say Lou because club thing. You feel?
Oh, Lou.
Say who?
Lou
Oh, that's
Thomas.
a
Lou
good one.
Thomas. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good answer too.
You
But
know, he
nah,
do the
Rock.
music too.
But then on the flip side of that, other than JP, if you had to choose any character that you could have played other than JP, who would that be?
Hmm.
Shit, that's a good question too.
Nah, facts.
Jannard.
Ooh, okay, okay. That would have been that would have been interesting. That would be
You would have
interesting.
loved to sniff some.
Right, right. That signature line. Let me get a bag of that heroin.
Damn.
But you know what? It's just playing the villain,
Mhm.
playing the guy that people love to hate. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's how I started acting as a kid. That's the first role. I mean, I was in fifth grade,
Mhm.
but I played the bad guy in this play. And I remember getting dressed up before we went to school, went into the backyard and got a charcoal brick from my dad's grill and rubbed it all over my face. And did like the whole day of school dressed as the bad guy. And when I came out on stage for the play, everybody knew I was the bad guy, and I got booed before I said a word. They booed me,
Wow.
like hardcore boo.
Damn.
Damn.
But I loved it. It's why I'm an actor today. I loved it. I could get that reaction. I could get that reaction from people without even saying anything. I was like, yo, they know I'm the fucking bad guy. And being the bad guy on film is dope. Yeah.
Nah, I
He out
found.
here trolling on Twitter
Yeah,
too.
I found.
He was.
He do be
Yeah,
He do be
yeah, you do. Nah, someone said method acting in the fifth grade is crazy.
Yeah, yeah. But you know,
okay, so
yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say since we on that subject, since it was pretty funny. Somebody had asked earlier, like what was like the funniest like moment like on set of Force? Like it could be from when y'all was filming season 1, season 2, season 3. He just want to know what was the most funniest like moment like on set if you remember.
Funny? Man. I don't know, man. We had so many. I mean, just long days. It seemed like when we shot into the night, because sometimes we filmed until like, midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. it just seemed like we got loose and funny, and Joseph would be running around cracking jokes. When Deion Taylor was on set filming, every time he yelled cut before and we were moving to the next setup, he played like music. He played like Prince or Cameo, Word Up, or he played songs everybody knew, and just we would just be dancing and laughing. There's a scene in season one, I think it's the ninth episode, where there's a shootout at like this factory looking place, and like they had the Flynn's had kidnapped JP.
Yeah.
And I spent that whole episode, the whole film, and we had to film. We started at midnight and we filmed it before sunrise because that was an actual plant where people worked, and we had to film when they weren't at work. And I remember I spent that whole episode in the back seat of like a Rolls Royce SUV just to get pulled out at the very end. But I spent like hours just chilling in the back seat, and like there was a bunch of jokes made about that. I was in like this, $500,000 whip or whatever, just chilling the whole night. Um, but yeah, man, there was just so many just lighthearted, funny moments. As serious as we were at times, there'll be late nights where Joseph or somebody else would get like a Harold's chicken truck for us. So like a Harold's chicken truck would pull up, and we all would just like be mashing out on Harold's at like 2 in the morning.
I be telling them about heroes. I be telling them about heroes.
Yeah, he do be talking about heroes. He definitely do.
Yeah, you send us all the time about heroes, man.
Yeah.
You make me want to try some.
Right. Right.
Come through.
Don't let me come over there and try
You know what I
some.
feel crazy about, boys? This is the
What?
only power show that is shot during the summer. It's the only power show that's shot when it's hot.
Damn,
Right?
you right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Summertime shot.
Yeah.
Summertime
Wow.
shot.
Ain't nothing like it, right? Ain't nothing like summertime shot.
Mhm.
We was able to capture that. We was able to capture that on film, man, which is dope because that's just forever. We got shots of like the South Side. We got shots of the lakefront, the L train coming through, Sears Tower, the Hancock, different neighborhoods, on the West Side. So yeah, we got all that on film, man. And I think the way we showcase the city is going to be one of the things I remember most. One of my favorite things about like as I go back and rewatch old episodes, just to be like, yo, this show in a lot of ways put Chicago on the map because it was shot here. It wasn't shot on the soundstage in Toronto or on the West Coast somewhere. Like it was all the exterior shits are here.
Yeah, that's what I appreciate about shows like that where they actually shoot it on location, right where it's taking place at, because you get a feel of like what the city is like and stuff like that. Because I'm not from Chicago, I'm from Texas, but like I could feel it like watching it through TV. Like yeah, they actually shot this here because. When I would watch the episode, they'll show like behind the scenes, like with D-Mac. After they played D-Mac, he had shown like a video of them shooting a scene near the church. Actually during your funeral, and just showing the whole process behind it. Like I appreciate stuff like that.
Yeah, and you know what's dope as well? What's dope is that when we would shoot in those neighborhoods, man, the people would come out and be supporting us. They knew the show. They'd be like, "Hey, what y'all filming? Oh, this Power," and then like Stick would walk, Joseph would walk out, and it'd be like, "Oh, that's Tommy," and talking to the people who live in those neighborhoods or who have those businesses. In season one, JP's bar was on Lincoln Avenue in Chicago on the north side. There's a bar called Martyrs, a very famous bar. A lot of live music, and a lot of cats know this place. So people will be coming outside of Martyrs like, "Oh, what are you guys filming?" And it was like this iconic locations that we were able to film at and talk to the people of Chicago while we were doing it.
So
I got a question.
would you say? Oh my bad.
Question. So in Chicago, you know where not to go and where where it's cool to go, and because it be cracking all up. Has there ever been a time where it's like y'all was outside, y'all was like in a own block, and then like somebody try to check y'all or something like that? Cause it be like that up there.
Yeah, but I didn't do a lot of exteriors one, especially in season 2 and 3. Most of my shit was at the stage. But I didn't hear any of those stories. We have the right protection in line for stuff like that, and for the most part, man, it was love. People we met with love. People want to see you, take a picture with Tommy. Nobody don't know no negative shit. Everybody was like mad respect for what we was doing, and as far as I know, we didn't run into those type of problems. So no, man, for all the exchanges And since the show, while the show was airing, and now, how I mean, everybody on the panel from Chicago, when we see celebrities or what we think are celebrities here, it's just like it's not really
It's
that
like,
big.
cause we is a celebrity.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I see people in the store. I see bros downtown when I'm on the train or whatever, and it's not a big thing. Like this, a nod, like a firm handshake, like appreciate you, bro. Thanks for what you do. Love the show, and we keep it moving. So
Yeah.
there's something about just the people here that I was so blessed to bring this show here, be part of the show while it was here.
Cause we
Because it's power fans everywhere, man,
Everywhere.
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 I be in the store buying paper plates and tater tots. And they be like, "Hey, Tommy's brother. Ain't you Tommy?" That's my new name in Chicago streets, too.
Hey,
Hell
I
yeah,
might
y'all
catch him
speed.
in
That's
Jules.
crazy.
I might, I catch him in Jules or pizza, something like that. Man, that's Tommy, bro.
Exactly, and I love them interactions, man. I love meeting the people, taking a quick selfie with the people. Because Power fans, man, they've invested so much time and energy into these characters, man, into these stories. And all over the place, but definitely in Chicago. I mean, they'll let you know what they think about the show, which is what I love. Like man, snarling on some bullshit or whatever. So
We got no filter up there. No filter. We gonna tell it like
none.
Nah.
yeah.
So there was I'm gonna read a comment. It says, any tips on, what did that comment say? It
So
was
was any
somewhere.
tips on anybody that's trying to be a young
Any tips?
aspiring actor?
Any tips for an upcoming actor? Yeah, that's what it was.
That was one of my questions. So
Upcoming actor. I love it. I get this question a lot, especially since I've been on the show. And I look back. I started acting professionally when I was 19. I'm 47 now, so I've been doing this a minute. And I only went to college for a year here. I went to Columbia College here in Chicago, and I had to drop out. But I was gigging. I was doing a play at the time. A play about Fred Hampton, who was a Black Panther here in Chicago. And while I was doing that, I got another play and another one. So I had to drop out of school, but I was gigging. And it wasn't about trying to be famous. It wasn't about trying to like be on TV. It was about trying to become a good actor. Respect the art. There's a quote that I love by this cat named Stanislavski, who was he's a prominent figure in the theater world. He was a teacher, and the quote is like, love the art in yourself, not yourself in the art." So basically, it's like, don't believe the hype. Don't work off pretense, and love the truest form of the art that's in yourself. And if anyone's starting out who wants to be an actor, that's what I would say to do. There's certain tools that you need for the business, whether that be pictures, headshots, an agent, representation. Now it's like a social media following, which is a thing, which wasn't a thing when I started as an actor, but that carries a certain amount of weight. But just love the art that's in yourself. Don't try to be famous. Just try to be a good artist and a good actor. Learn the skills of this craft because, just taking. I always go back to Sakura, man, because of what he has meant to this franchise and this show, what he has brought to the Power universe. 12 plus years the brother's been doing this, and he's been able to create this character. He's been able to do that because of his training. Joe is a very well trained and seasoned actor. He's not up there just like willy nilly doing something, and he makes strong choices. And he's a very technically sound actor. So I would say learn what you have to learn, but chase being a good artist and being true to that.
that's real, right?
Nah, I had a question real quick. We ain't gonna keep you too much longer, but I was wondering because I seen this in the comments, but I was wondering myself, where was D Mac's mom at? Like, you feel me? Like, we touched upon her, a bit in the show, but like we never saw her. Did y'all have an actress, in mind to play her? Had the show going on longer, or what was the deal with that?
That I don't know about. But as far as his mom was concerned, she never really. I mean, the backstory around it was, D Mac's mom took D-Mac away from JP once JP came out that he was gay. So and then she poisoned his mind
Mm.
to his father. She told him things about his father that weren't true,
Mm.
that he didn't want to be with him, this, that, and the third. So outside of that, how they fell out, the D-Mac and his mom,
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know if that was ever really established
Right.
in any concrete way.
Mm.
But she just wasn't around, or either D-Mac left and he wasn't hanging around his mama because he wanted to be in the street
Right.
more.
Yeah.
But she wasn't really around after she took D-Mac away from JP.
Mm.
Or also got another question coming in from the chat. This person I went patient for. So this person wanted to know, like, do you think the character JP thinks that Tommy was like a psychopath, and like how hard was it like navigating through like, you know, loving Tommy as like a brother, you know? That's what the person wanted to know in the chat.
Yeah. No, I don't think he thought he was like a psychopath. I mean, I think JP thought Tommy comes from a different world. But there was a duality in Tommy that JP recognized. You know, the way he moved in the streets. But I think JP knew Tommy's heart and the things that Tommy wanted long term. So no, it wasn't hard. I mean, it's family, man. You always gonna love your family. Sometimes everybody on this show or on this panel got crazy ass family members, and you probably still love them. You know.
Yeah, I think everyone do. Yeah, everyone definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, family was important to JP. And then once he found out that, you know, that he had this brother, I think he wanted to do all he can to keep him in his world. You know, they had a falling out. Once they got back together, they had a falling out over the case situation where JP kind of saw this side of Tommy that scared him, but not to the point where I think he was like scared away from him. I think he saw, all right, I gotta move differently with my brother. You know, we're brothers, but we are from two different worlds. So there's, you know, we have to respect that, but there's still love. You know, there's still that bond. Brothers, if y'all got brothers, you know that bond with your brother is forever. It's through disagreements. It's through years maybe of no contact. It doesn't matter, man. That bond is always there. You know, I have a brother. I have a brother who, you know, I don't talk to all that much. He's in and out of my life, but you know, I love him more than anything. And you know, and he'll always be my brother. I always recognize him as my brother. And even though we live two different lives, you know, we have that past and we have that bond, which is forever.
Yeah, that's how I know JP Gangster. The way he pulled up on Tommy, like he set the tone. Like episode 1, he was like, "Who the fuck are you?" I'm like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, he was not afraid at all.
Tommy put the gun in his face. He don't even give a fuck.
Right.
He want to know what was marrying. I'm like, that's how I knew to take your character seriously and that you was a real brother.
Yo, that was my first day on the set.
Yeah,
we shot that.
How'd that feel?
We shot that in. Oh man! First of all, it was cold as hell that day. I remember that.
Yes.
And we was out in Oak Park, at this place in Oak Park, which is just west of the city.
Yeah.
And man, that was fun. You know, shooting that scene and then have Tommy like whirl around with the gun, and then to be able to smoke a B with Tommy on the Mustang outside was like, that was iconic for me, man.
That was real. That was real. Y'all smoked that for real? Or that was
it wasn't. It was a prop. They had a Ziploc bag full of them, dog.
I was about to say, that's real. That's crazy.
Yeah. Nah, it was giving me a straight up headache too, because I was taking big pulls. You know, like we was really burning one. And it was like, oh, this is like oregano or some shit.
Nah, prop is crazy, but
right.
I get it though.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing that stood out to me when we were talking about earlier is when you said like, oh, don't try to get famous, just focus on being the best artist or the best this, the best that. Because I do feel like a lot of like people that want to pursue something, like once they get like an ounce of fame, they let that fame get to their head a lot. So I like that really stuck out to me. You know, like I feel like if you want to pursue something, like just focus on being the best at that craft. You know, like don't let like Like once you like get like an ounce of fame, like don't let it get to your head. Just focus on your craft. You know, like
Yeah.
that stuck out to me. I like that quote. I do.
Thanks, man. And like for younger actors coming up, I get how hard that is, man. Mainly because of social media, you know. And sometimes it's not. It's just about getting famous. It's just about getting clicks. It's not about being good. And a lot of mediocre cats get on. You know, there's a lot of just like so motherfuckers out there doing it and think they doing it big. And it's like when you break down like their skill set, it's like, man, you lacking. You really ain't
Let's
got
keep it
that, you
real.
know.
Let's keep it
And
real.
being from Chicago, man, where we got some of the best actors in the world come out of right here. You know, people come to Chicago to get actors. You know, the history of us in theater here is our reputation is top notch. So you know, we don't fall for that shit here. So it's like when you come here, you got to bring it because we know the
Right.
deal, and you know we
It's
are
authentic.
focused on the craft. Yeah, for sure. So
More authentic.
I was lucky to grow up here to have that background because that's what I always kept as my focus, you know, and still is. I'm still trying to learn. I'm still trying to do all the work I can and do different type of work just to grow as an actor. You know, as someone who dropped out of college and has been gigging ever since I was 19, you know, you have to learn on the move. You have to learn with the great artists that you work with and that you surround yourself with. And
Right.
I've been blessed to do it in Chicago, where there's a lot of very talented artists in every genre.
Nah, I'm gonna ask this one last question before we, wrap things up. But were you on social media at the episode after JP had died? Were you on? Did you see like a lot of the fan reaction to his death?
I did, man. And it's wild. I said this in this other interview because, you know, a lot of JP stuff was very isolated from the rest of the show.
Right.
You know, even my days on set, I didn't see nobody except Joseph, or if I was in the scene with D Mac
Right.
or, you know, Kate, that, especially season 3. So I kind of lost touch. I was like, are cats feeling JP? I didn't really know, you know. I thought like, and then from watching the show, I'd be like, all right, we got all this gangster shit, street, and then they're like, we cut to JP, and it was a very intentional shift in the mood, and I was just like, yo, I didn't know if cats were feeling it. So when I read the reaction to his death, man, I was surprised in a good way
Right.
that it seemed like cats were really like feeling JP and understood his character and his story and you know the way he went out. So yeah, I was really shocked and humbled, and it really touched me in a very positive way, man. It touched my heart because man, I love bringing JP to the screen, and to know that Cats was feeling him. You know, I talked to a lot of people after the show aired, and they were like, "Man, JP just felt like one of us." You know, he just felt like a normal, regular guy who was just trying to do right by his son and his family. And I was like, yeah, that's a dope way to be remembered.
Nah, word.
At least he went out getting one on Jannar before he went out.
No, facts.
He went out getting one. He stood on business about that.
Fuck away from my son.
Hey, JP went out like a gangster, man. For real.
Nah, word.
My man. Yeah, he didn't give nothing up when them cats kicked in the door. And that's another thing, you know, when them cats kicked in the door, JP knew it was a wrap. You know, it didn't have to even go to like when they put the gun in his face and started whooping him. He knew when they came in, it was game over. So the last thing he could do, with the last power move he could make, was not give up any information.
Right.
To, you know, where D-Mac was. And
That's
also to get Jannard's name out there, so Tommy would hear it and know who was responsible, and send all his energy towards getting Jannard, which didn't happen, but you know, whatever.
Nah,
that was some great emotion you showed. I felt like if that was me yelling like after D-Mac, I would have lost my voice like the next day, just scratching my throat, man. Because after hella takes, you got it, man. You got the flowers. I give you the flowers.
That's wild, man, because that actually, when we filmed that, that was the first day out of all the seasons. That was the first day my wife came to the set to watch. And so she got to see me get beat up and shot in the head about 10 times.
10 times is crazy.
I'm like, damn, the moment your wife comes, damn, That's what they make you do. I'm like,
Right.
damn.
Yeah. It's just we got over to the end, and I was like, "Babe, you ain't even been to set yet. You gotta come." And I was like, "Yo, come the last day. That's the
Mhm.
day to come because I got a lot of the focus on my scenes and everything." So
Mhm.
she was sitting off in Video Village. That's the area backstage where all the video monitors are set up, where the director watches what's being filmed. So she was in Video Village with the headphones on, just watching me get beat up by Big Baby Glenn Davis.
Mhm. But nah, we appreciate you for talking to us, feel me? You really did a phenomenal job playing JP. You know, feel me? All the fans was really rocking with your character for real. Yeah, great job. You a great actor. You a great actor.
Yeah, man. And
Yeah,
just
man.
know,
Right.
Chicago
You got
support you. Chicago support you for
you
sure.
got any upcoming projects we
Love.
should know about? Like we should look out for?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm doing. Speaking of more Chicago shit, there's a independent film company here called Sin City
Mm.
Productions that was started by a very talented woman named Cynthia McWilliams, who is not from Chicago, but she went to school in Chicago. She went to DePaul University, and she did theater here in Chicago. She was on a TV show called Average Joe with my man Dion Cole. She did that show. Yeah. She does a lot of voiceover work. Anyway, she has this production company, and they have filmed an independent comedy called Messy Lola, where she plays the star Messy Lola. And I did a guest appearance in an episode of that, and that's going to come out early next month. But that was real dope to shoot because, again, filmed here in Chicago. The studio is right on the south side in Bronzeville. So more Chicago